The lady back there holding the cell phone, standing up, the women to leave the room.
Hey guys, I'm Hannah Cox with Base Politics, back with my show, COPAGANDA. This week, we're turning our attention back to my former home city of Nashville, Tennessee. Following the tragic incident in March of this year, where a lone gunman invaded the private Christian Covenant School in the Green Hills neighborhood of Nashville, the Tennessee legislature has entered a special session where they are considering all kinds of new proposals around guns, access to guns, guns in schools, and gun control. As you might imagine, this kind of discourse has led to very high emotions and many people on both sides of the issue showing up to make their wishes heard. One group of people that have been especially visible at these various hearings throughout the special session has been a group of mothers who want gun control, many of whom are parents of kids who were at the school the day of the shooting. Now, full clarification, I used to work the Tennessee legislature, and I am very familiar with some of the women who are in this coalition. Many of them are quite active and can be found at the legislature even when it's not a special session focused on gun control. They're very anti-gun. They are always looking for ways to advance more gun control, and I am on the exact opposite side of the issue from these people. But all those things considered, I still think those women have absolutely every right to be at the Capitol anytime the doors are open and make their views heard. But unfortunately, it appears that some Tennessee Republican lawmakers and police do not agree with me on that. Let's roll this video.
This is not what democracy looks like. Need a permit for the sign?
And I will tell you this, if there's an ongoing problem with these signs, we'll just split the whole room.
And deny our First Amendment rights?
What about the ongoing problem?
What about
with
our
guns?
First Amendment rights? We have rights to hold a sign. I'm not living.
Are guns still allowed in here?
Hold a
The
sign.
third one back in the center needs to exit the room. The other one holding the sign up needs to exit the room.
Come on, ma'am.
This is
So we can have a gun but not a sign.
My First Amendment right. You have to drag me out, so be it.
Body sign.
Is this what democracy looks like?
No.
Is this what democracy looks like? So we're fine. Y'all won't do this for people who bring guns to school. You have to drag me.
the lady back there holding the cell phone, standing up, the women to leave the room.
This is not what democracy looks like.
Do we need a permit for the sign? What's the problem? You don't have to do any training if you get a permit. They do it backwards. Oh, we don't have any.
The heroes are walking out.
Here's the background information you need for this incident. According to the Associated Press, the removals came at the order of a GOP subcommittee chair who later instructed troopers to kick the rest of the public out of the committee room after deeming the crowd too unruly. That included grieving parents closely connected to the school shooting who broke down in tears at the decision. Republicans, who have a supermajority in the House, signed off on a new slate of strict rules during the special session. They approved severely limiting the public from accessing the Senate and House galleries where people have traditionally been allowed to watch their government in action. The Senate did not ban signs, but the House did, likely trying to get ahead of what happened earlier this year following the immediate aftermath of the shooting, where essentially people went rogue during the formal session of the Tennessee legislature, which was already meeting at that point in time. You saw people screaming from the galleries. There were 3 lawmakers, Democratic lawmakers, who ultimately were kicked out because they refused to follow procedures and kept disrupting the session, trying to advance gun control. And while 2 of them were later reinstated, it was a complete circus. Tennessee is wild, y'all. The American Civil Liberties Union of Tennessee immediately filed a lawsuit on behalf of the 3 women who were removed because of their signs. And by Wednesday, a judge actually ruled to let people bring signs back in the Tennessee House's hearings, which is good. That was a bogus law they should never have passed. It was anti-First Amendment, anti-free speech, and I don't think that they had the right to do it. The ACLU of Tennessee's executive director, Catherine Simbeck, said, "Democracy depends on people's ability to express their opinions to their elected representatives on issues they care about, and this unreasonable rule stood in the way of people fully participating in the democratic process." I agree. And this is actually not the first time that the Tennessee legislature has worked to either block signs or grossly regulate them, saying they can't be larger than like a letter. Frankly, this always seemed like a violation of free expression, and again, at exactly the place that matters most. But I think what's important to remember here is, yet again, we see lawmakers passing laws that are unconstitutional, that violate people's civil liberties, and they deserve to be blamed when police get involved in these interactions. But also, police deserve some blame because they take an oath to the Constitution, and what they should be doing is refusing to enforce unconstitutional laws. Instead, we really never see them take that course of action, and instead, they always act like lapdogs for the politicians in place. They don't work for you, the people. They don't work for the Constitution. And ultimately, they will enforce every unjust law on the books up until the point of even killing people at times merely because it's on the books. That's a massive problem with policing, and just one of many reasons that we need to completely restructure the way that we format our policing departments, how they go about enforcing orders, the kind of scrutiny they receive. Ultimately, if police are not upholding the Constitution, they are often upholding injustice and oppression. Furthermore, we have got to get back to a place as a country where we fully respect and stand up for the free speech rights of everyone, especially those who disagree with us. Republican lawmakers were way out of line on this in Tennessee. They had no business passing these kinds of laws, and I'm very glad to see that the ACLU, at least in this instance, did still stand up for free speech and that they were successful in pushing back on this. I think these women are wildly misinformed on what they think would actually solve violence in this country, but the way to adequately come together and try to ensure that we have meaningful policies on the books that save lives is to have that conversation, not to shut people down. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this week. Let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and until next week, stay based.